Welcome, everybody. On the ones and twos, this is DJ Torch. I'd like to welcome everybody. Camo in the house. Big Cap is up in the house. Is up in this. We will be starting very soon, so tell your friends.
And the pot calls the kettle black, calls the kettle burnt, calls her mad. Kettle reminds the pot that we both been burned on the same stove, that the parts of our bodies that are layered in soot were scorched by the same hands. Kettle tells pot that she still boils water, holds the hot breath of a white man's tongue, endures the slow simmer of a white woman's allyship, and still we make something beautiful. Pot calls the kettle wicked, and kettle says no, but says she's so magical she burned the hand of the last man who tried to pour himself a piece of her. Says she's so black, she is everything. So black, she is the beginning. She is the first thing someone finds home in when they wake up in the morning. Says, ain't that what it means to be black? To have the world go up in flames around you and still be sanctuary for someone, saving men who lost themselves the night before, saving men who curse our names but forget his mama is made of steel too. And now the pot has no words but calls the kettle bitter, but loves the glass pan, the fine china, loves all the exotic shit white men put behind glass casings, loves how fragile things not made of steel can be. But this isn't about the pot or the pan. This is about the kettle, the black woman, how she pours herself across the earth, but no one bats an eye when the water disappears. We give ourselves to men who never love us, but they say we are difficult, too hard to break. How we, the kettle, praise this pot, this man for all the water he holds. How we are the only ones who do not call him monster when the water boils over, because we know this heat, this white flame, hot enough to make any of us explode. We are the first ones to make noise when the world goes up in flames, but they say the earth was saved by the man who heard her scream. Pot calls the kettle black, and kettle says yes, but says you best remember you black too. The next time they bring a fire to your neck, they burn black bodies on the stake and the stove. Pot calls the kettle black, and kettle says, bitch, I might be. Says, nuck if you buck. Then says, wipe me down. Kettle says, yes, my nigga, I be black, I be mad, and I boiled the last man down to his bones when he tried to test me. Pot calls the kettle black, and kettle says, hell yes. But don't say my name as if you ain't ever been burnt too.
All right. Mic check 1, 2. DJ Torch in the house on the ones and twos for you. In the house, Bridget Mouton. In the house, Big Cap. In the house, Feisty Black Tina. In the house, Camo. All the people in the clouds. We're going to keep this going. Here we go.
All right, Ron, our other top story here at 5, the gas station clerk who police say automatically locked a door moments before a man opened fire on customers inside that store has now been charged.
22-year-old Al Hassan Ayash faces felony charge of involuntary manslaughter surrounding a dispute allegedly over just $4 worth of merchandise. Sean Lay is live tonight with this story. Sean, there are a lot of questions that still surround this case.
Absolutely, Kimberly. Here's the deal. First and foremost, the gas station remains closed. The city found that it was operating without a license after the shooting. Now, here's a picture of Gregory Kelly on the gas station door here. He was one of 3 men trapped inside the shop. He was shot and killed. The other 2 customers with him were also shot. They survived. The clerk was able to lock this door, trapping those men inside with a gunman. Now, he was in court today. His attorney says, yes, he used poor judgment, but he should not be charged.
But I've never seen this before, but their theory is to hold him responsible, criminally responsible for the intentional crime that's committed by somebody else.
The attorney for 22-year-old Al Hassan Ayash admitting the gas station clerk used poor judgment, but should not be held responsible for 3 innocent customers being shot inside the gas station May 6th. Samuel McCray is charged with shooting the 3 customers. One man, 37-year-old Gregory Kelly, was shot multiple times and was killed. But the clerk is also facing involuntary manslaughter charges for using an automatic lock to lock the store's door as he argued with the gunman. Video from inside the shop is terrifying. The 3 customers were trapped, the gunman making it clear that he would shoot everyone if the door was not unlocked. And that's exactly what the gunman did. Ayash's attorney says he locked the door to help police.
He calls the police and he locks the door so the thief can still be there when the police arrive.
This was all over.
So this is the funny part. There's a lot of logical things going on here. One is that the guy is arguing with the killer over $4. So this guy right here has the genius of the idea is to put people's lives in order in jeopardy for $4. The guy tells him what he's going to do. Keep listening. Check this out.
Ayash thinking McCray was going to walk off with an iced tea and a pack of donuts. And prosecutors say it was Ayash.
Okay, I need you to hear that. Because remember, men are logical. We're logical. Listen to this.
Donuts. And prosecutors say this was all over Ayash thinking McCray was going to walk off with an iced tea.
Door so the thief
police.
He calls the police and he locks the door so the thief can still be there when the police arrive.
This was all over Ayash.
Do you know why banks just give the thief the money or the people the money? Because it's insured. They're talking about $4 here. Let's keep it going.
Thinking McCray was going to walk off with an iced tea and a pack of donuts. And prosecutors say it was
Ayash. Now, he didn't walk off with them yet. He just assumes that he was.
Who escalated the entire situation.
And people were pulling, kicking, trying everything they could to get out of there. And they were stuck in there because of the defendant.
Ayash's attorney wanting a low bond for him. The judge saying, no way.
It wasn't just the locking of the door. It was a participation in escalation of this situation and then locking the door while people were begging to be let out.
Now, this is Ayash's arraignment today. He's officially been charged. So much information, so much back and forth just in that arraignment alone. Bottom line, the magistrate setting a $200,000 bond for the clerk, Kimberly and Devin. If he makes that bond, he'll be on house arrest on a tether. Back to you.
Sean, the clerk, Ayash, he was out on bond for another charge when the shooting happened, and it sounds like that played a part in giving him the bond that he got today.
The magistrate said that, talking about a threat to the public. He was out on bond currently for felonious assault and a felony gun crime related to a road rage incident. Goes to the judgment issue, the magistrate said, so she set that high bond.
Man, I mean, and it's like, this doesn't sound like logical work to me. If somebody wants to take $4 worth of stuff, they got a gun, they can have the shit. They can have it. They can have it. In the house, Creative Solutions. In the house, Kitten and Caskets, better known as Camo. In the house, Bridget Mouton. In the house, Feisty Black Tina. In the house, Big Cap. Let's keep this going a little bit longer, but I got more for you. I got more logic for you. I have more logic. Remember, Kevin Samuels said men are logical and women are emotional. If we could assess this situation, I would like to hear any type of logic that any of these men used at all. In the house, just ask Char. In the house, Oya is in the house. Oya Terminador Negro is in the house.
Yeah. Okay, Sean, thanks.
It all comes after a man's body was recovered from Folsom Lake just days ago. He was swimming on the American River.
All right, let's hear some more logic. This is solemn logic, but it's logic that needs to be heard.
Near Auburn when he was swept away. ABC 10's Luke Clary is live in the studio. And Luke, you spoke to people in that area.
Yeah, and the water is moving really fast, and it's so cold. I have to tell you, I was surprised to see the number of families, even some with small children, swimming in these dangerous conditions.
A refuge from the California sun, our rivers draw us in, but there's danger here.
I'm standing here near the confluence of the North and Middle Forks of the American River at the Auburn State Recreation Area. And let me tell you, this water is ice cold to the touch. And when you look up from the sky, you can see what looks like rapids forming on both forks. This water is moving so fast.
I was like, I could take a dip and just come out.
This 21-year-old Sac State undergrad is here with his brothers.
You guys have family that know that you're out here?
Yeah.
They do, but they won't be able to save me if anything, so it doesn't really matter.
A dark thought, a lifeguard warning them how risky this was.
Initially just an educational piece of you are really flirting with disaster. You know what I mean?
It is so funny to me. I want to know the logic. I mean, they told these kids, they told these young men actually, that if you get in this water, which is ice cold, by the way, and by the way, when they say ice cold, I mean, you put your hand in there, and if you hold it in there, you know how like you put your hand in ice, it's like that. And it's to the point where it almost hurts, where it almost hurts. And they want to swim in that, knowing that if they get swept away, rivers are very strong and can be very deceiving. They're deeper than you think. The water's faster than you think. And I love the fish, so I know all about this stuff. There's confluence going on there. There's undertows. There's all this stuff that pulls people down in the water. And the water is not the worst thing, especially on a river. The water is not the worst thing. The worst thing is a combination of fast water and rocks. Imagine somebody throwing you into a rock at 15, 20, 30 miles an hour. Yeah, that's going to hurt. And if you're probably going to break a limb or something, if you're lucky, if it's just that. Worst case scenario, you get knocked out, you drown. You can't, because you can't swim if you're out cold, if you know what I mean. in the house. Rico is in the house. You Can't Get Laid is in the house. Camo is in the house. Oya Creative Solutions is in the house. Just Gas Char is in the house. Let's keep this going.
And we cannot, if you were to get in the water right now, guarantee you that we would be able to get you out alive.
Cal Fire Captain Rick Salas. His Placer County Swiftwater Rescue Team has been involved in about a dozen emergency calls on the river this year, 2 with deadly consequences. 22-year-old Victor Nguyen of Antelope was swept away on April 29th and found miles downriver at Folsom Lake on Friday. And it's happening statewide. On Kings River in Fresno County, 2 children drowned when their mother tried to take them across the river without life jackets.
Stay out of the water. This year is different. And unfortunately, the people that have not adhered to that message have lost their lives. And so anybody that is at the river's edge or is thinking about getting into the river, don't do it.
Yeah, the message really doesn't get much clearer than that. Until the water levels get lower, until the temperatures get warmer, you really don't want to swim in the rivers in this area, especially not without a life jacket.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So yeah, men aren't supposed to be logical, but we jump into lakes and rivers, I should say, that are dangerous, right? In the house. Rico is in the house. Ripley is in the house. You Can't Get Laid is in the house. Let me play some more fun. Here we go once again. Now, everybody's let me just play it.
The 30th of January, 1933, Germany. Adolf Hitler is appointed Chancellor of Germany, and the Nazi regime quickly begins to restrict the civil and human rights of the Jews and other individuals deemed to be enemies of the state, and opens the first concentration camp, Dachau, situated near Munich. The regime targets not only the Jews and political prisoners, but also Afro-Germans, who are discriminated against and persecuted despite their relatively small presence in Germany. Even though the Nazis do not have an organized program to eliminate them, an unknown number of black people in Germany and German-occupied territories would be sterilized, incarcerated, or murdered. On the 11th of November, 1918, the First World War ended when the German leaders signed the armistice in the Compiègne forest in France. The introduction of new weapons like the machine gun and gas warfare led to enormous losses, and the war claimed the lives of 10 million soldiers. Property and industry losses were catastrophic. As a result, the victorious powers imposed a series of treaties upon the defeated powers.
Listen closely. I know it's a slow burn, but you'll get what I'm saying later.
Among the treaties, the 1919 Treaty of Versailles held Germany responsible for starting the war and liable for massive material damages. The treaty imposed harsh penalties on the Germans, including the loss of 13% of its pre-war territories, extensive reparation payments, and the demilitarization of the Rhineland in Western Germany, which following World War I was occupied by the victorious Allies. The use of French colonial troops, some of whom were black, in these occupation forces heightened anti-black racism in Germany. Racist propaganda against black soldiers falsely depicted them as rapists of German women and carriers of venereal and other diseases. The German press derogatorily referred to the children of black soldiers and German women as the Rhineland bastards. The Nazis viewed Afro-Germans, children with one African parent and one German parent, as a threat to the purity of the Germanic race. In his 1925 autobiography, Mein Kampf, Adolf Hitler said, "The Jews had brought the Negroes into the Rhineland with a clear aim of ruining the hated white race by the necessarily resulting bastardization." In the 1920s, some African Americans traveled to Weimar, Germany, which was the government of Germany from 1918 to 1933, where they could freely eat in restaurants, stay in hotels, go to the theater, and perform at mainstream venues. However, after the Nazis came to power in January 1933, Germany was no longer safe or appealing for African Americans. The Nazi German regime was explicitly racist, which included a wholesale rejection of African American culture, such as jazz and swing music, that were increasingly popular at the time. During the Nazi regime, Afro-Germans were marginalized in German society, isolated socially and economically, and not allowed to attend university. Racial discrimination prohibited them from seeking most jobs. In addition to being persecuted for their race, Afro-Germans were persecuted for other reasons as well. Such was the case of Hilarius Gilgus, an Afro-German dancer and communist activist from Dusseldorf, born in 1909. Gilgus was one of the few black Germans born in the country before the First World War, and in the mid-1920s, he joined the German Communist Youth.
Okay. I just wanted to throw that out there because you need to get it's very important for me to show you, because a lot of the men, especially in the red pill system, these black men, they're good with a certain person, you know, praising Hitler. I want to ask you this. You saw how bad it was for Africans of Germans of African descent in Germany under Nazi rule, right? But y'all love this dude right here. I need to know the logic. I need you guys are logical, right? Men are logical, women are emotional. So I would like to know where your mind is at on this. And you can put this on the comments when you check out the live later on. It's very important for you to grasp this. I want you to explain Yee's logic for supporting probably one of the worst enemies of African existence. And then I want you, since you're defending him, I want you to explain to me why you still support him, knowing that he's in love with, supports deeply, okay, the love for Hitler. I think the best defense you have for him is that he's straight up nuts. Because that's basically evil. You're basically hating, you're basically loving an entity that hates you the most in the world ever. Ever. That hates you the most in the world and what you stand for. You were getting this, the Africans that were in there in Germany at that time were getting the similar shit, okay, that the Jewish people were. That same smoke, literally. But here you are supporting a man who supports that culture back then in Germany, that hateful culture. You support it. And then you want to be seen as logical. You want to be seen as logical. And say that women are emotional. That's kind of weird. Let's play a little bit more and then I'm rolling.
Because of his radical political stance, he was arrested in 1931 and sentenced to 1 year in prison. After his release in 1932, he continued as an active communist agitator. After the Nazis seized power in January 1933, Gilgus attempted to go into hiding, but his visibility due to his skin color made this difficult. In June 1933, he was arrested, and on the following day, his body was found under a bridge. The perpetrators, who killed Gilgus for his politics as well as his race, are believed to have been 6 members of the Gestapo, the German secret state police, and SS.
And Yeezy or Kanye West, he loves this culture. And you love Kanye. Please tell me where the logic is. Remember, Kevin Samuels, women are emotional, men are logical, right? I want to see the logic. It's bad enough that there was a war, because of men, And that was supposed to be logical, right? But the funny thing is that I'm still grasping where the logic is. So all you guys out there in the clouds, let me know. You could type it in the chat. Right now, I'm going to welcome to the stage Rico. Rico, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, DJ. How about yourself?
I'm doing well.
Happy Memorial Day to you.
Thank you, Rico. And I hope everything's going right on the one for you as well. Can you help me? Can you help me try to explain what's going on here?
You probably, and I get what you're saying. I totally understand what you're saying. It's this weird dynamic of black men in the red pill space, deifying people that obviously they've done no research on. Because like you said, I've seen this several times. So I'm like, if you knew the hatred that the Nazis, not just Hitler, but the entire Nazi party, or Germany as a whole, or white people all over the globe during those times had towards people of color, there's no way you would deify these people. So it's just insane to me. But the way I look at it, I would start with this, and I'm gonna tell anybody, musically, and me personally, Kanye's not my taste of music, but I will bend there because I'm an older person. But I've never heard Kanye string two sensible sentences together, ever. So people can say whatever they want about the music, but I'm like, the man's a fucking idiot. He's a moron. Fashion sense, garbage. But what I see in Kanye and these young men in these spaces is what I call, and I actually have a son like this, but thank God he's not red pill. He's not into this YouTube crap. And I would always tell him, I'm like, boy, you're a contrarian for contrarian's sake. Literally, it's like anything. It's like all the evidence in the world could say A, they're going to insist on B. You know who else it reminds me of that? Kyrie Irving, the basketball player. We're just like, they will make up an entire universe just to go against the prevailing belief. So so it's exhausting and it's exasperating because they do this and they do it to their own detriment. Where, like you said, Kanye or Kyrie will end up with a bunch of fucking skinheads on the side of a road in a ditch because they're so busy wanting to prove us wrong to their own peril. And it's one thing, like I tell my son, I'm like, it's one thing if you want to do that to yourself. I'm not saying I want my son to do anything stupid, but it's one thing if you want to do it to yourself. It's another thing for you to sit there and have people follow you with your idiot ideology because you refuse. And they do no study, they do no scholarship, they do nothing. They literally just take the opposing view, just I guess wanting to be a trailblazer. And if you tell them, okay, you're a trailblazer, where do we go next? They have no fucking idea. Right. They're clueless. So, I mean, I get your point, with it. It's like with Kanye and his fascination with Hitler, I don't see how any person of color could sit there and find anything good about them. I'm like, so they didn't like the Jews. They didn't like us either. So what?
Right.
That's
exactly.
insane.
It's crazy.
Right. So that's what I get from him. And anybody, and I would say to any of his supporters or the supporters of these people who, we all know the fiasco. I'll tell you exactly the fiasco in YouTube with the just pasty things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Look at the people who decided they were going to be contrarians for contrarian's sake. They all know damn well that what that woman said was wrong, but they're just going to, whether it's old Coonan ass Obsidian, Angry Girl, or any of the rest of them. They're contrarians for contrarian's sake. They have no evidence, no support for their position, but they're just like, I'm going to take the opposite point of view. And if you say, okay, I'm going to listen to you, now what? They have no idea. And they just make up all this psychobabble bullshit about, cancel culture. I'm like, God damn it. And that's another thing that bothers me is like, this whole I don't believe in cancel culture. I'm like, motherfucker, they've been canceling people for 400 years.
Right.
White people have been canceling black people. Now you motherfuckers got a problem with cancel culture. This is crazy.
Boom. Well
So
said.
that's just all that. And this is my whole thought process. So it's definitely the Kanye thing. I say you can look at Kyrie Irving. You can look at the Just Pacey thing. But it's almost always, it probably bothers me the most because I can almost say it's nearly universally within our community, men. I'm struggling to find the instances where black women are just this fucking hard-headed to be to the other side. I don't see them just being that dug in, but I can find a lot of cases where black men through history, and it's always turned out badly for them. That's the sad part about it.
That
it always
is true.
has.
That's true. Let's go on to this next video here. This is going to be fun. I guarantee it.
The 30th of January,
wait.
1933.
They were considered to be the 2000s version of the Fugees. Ryan Toby, Claudette Ortiz, Robbie Parlow, all three from New Jersey, were formed by former Fugees member Wyclef Jean into a hip-hop and R&B trio called City High. During the 2000s, City High debuted their singles What Would You Do, which became the #1 song on the Billboard charts. Their song was nominated for a Grammy, and their debut album was released in 2001. After their debut album, they were about to work on their second album, but we haven't heard from them since. But why?
All right. If you've heard of this group, hit a 1 in this chat. If you haven't, hit a 2 in the chat.
Reese Ryan Toby was born on November 26, 1978 in Willingboro, New Jersey, to his parents Norman and Benzie Toby. When he was in his teens, he starred in Sister Act 2, Back in the Habit, alongside Whoopi Goldberg and Fugees member and New Jersey native Lauryn Hill. After Sister Act 2, Toby haven't had much acting gigs, but has been getting the opportunity to write and produce music. Claudette Ortiz was born on July 21st, 1981 in Willingboro, New Jersey. Claudette and her family are Puerto Rican descent. She attended Willingboro High School, the same as Ryan. While she was in high school, she met Robbie Parlow, who was 1 year older than her. They would share interests with each other and form a friendship. When Claudette was 16, the two would become an item. Around the time that they were dating, they had their ups and downs. At first, Claudette's sister, who was in the same grade as Robbie, was concerned with Claudette dating him because he was an alcoholic. Claudette ignored her sister and continued on the relationship until reality showed her that her sister was right. During their relationship, it was filled with physical and emotional abuse, alcoholism, and drug abuse. Former Fugees member Wyclef Jean was interested in Robbie and was going to sign him as a solo artist on his own record label. Soon after, Robbie introduced Claudette as a solo artist to perform for Wyclef. After her performance, Wyclef decided to make Parlow and Ortiz a duo, like Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell. Wyclef Jean contacted Ryan about him joining the group to make it into a trio. He agreed to be a part of it. And remember, Ryan knew Robbie and Claudette. They were all from Jersey and they went to the same high school. Together, the trio would be named City High. City High was signed and formed on Wyclef's record label and started working their debut album. During production, all three members did write on their songs. Their first single, What Would You Do, was released on March 27th, 2001. What Would You Do was a hit, making it #1 in hot rap singles and #8 in the Billboard charts. Their song will be featured on the Life film soundtrack. The song was nominated for Best R&B Performance by a Duo or Group with Vocal in the 2002 edition of the Grammys, but but lost to Destiny's Child's Survivor. Next single was Caramel, featuring the rapper E, another hit single that was getting heavy radio play at hip-hop and R&B radio stations across the nation. Their debut self-titled album was released on May 22nd, 2001. It peaked at #1 on Billboard charts and received good reviews and was certified gold. After the release of their debut album, things got chaotic with the group. According to Claudette, Robbie was drinking heavily and abusing drugs. It was so bad that Robbie would be hungover and the group would miss radio and TV interviews. It got even worse between Claudette and Robbie. He was constantly cheating on her and physically abusive towards her. Claudette couldn't handle it and decided to leave him and leave the group. City High.
I want you to tell me the logic in torpedoing a blooming career. A blooming career over an addiction you don't want to handle.
There's no logic there. There's literally, I was just sitting there listening. I don't know who this group is, but I was sitting there listening to it, and I was like, okay, they sound like they, checking all the boxes. You could see the early red flags.
Right.
I guess I wish that the record labels had stepped in and tried to get the guy some help, or maybe just booted his ass or something. But they were going in the right direction. So there's no logic. It's just dumb.
Yeah, when you're doing soundtracks, I mean, and back then you actually did have to have more talent than you do today.
Mm-hmm.
So I guarantee you she could sing and those guys could sing or whatever they did. And it's a shame that they didn't exhibit logic. I mean, the most logical person was the woman who quit the guy because he was a drunk.
Right, who left, exactly. And that's why for me it would have been like, okay, let's find a way to keep the female talent, because that's harder to find anyway.
Right.
If she's nice looking and can sing, that's harder to find than it is for a male talent.
Right.
Unless he's just like a 1 in a million. But it didn't sound like that because it was 3 people. So I was like, okay, there's still one guy here. And besides, we can't keep him because he has dependency issues. He got drug and out. So he's going to burn out any damn way. So you might as well just go ahead and cut your losses early with him, because you're not going to be able to keep him. And if the other 2 don't have drug or alcohol problems, keep them and just get rid of his ass.
Yep. And I mean, talk about somebody derailing, destroying not only their career, but their life. Yeah. I mean, this is what they dreamt about, being a hot group. And they still, I mean, it's kind of like I almost give the guy a pass, right? If he was a heavy drinker before he got in the drink group and then said, man, I mean, I could really be somebody, and then stopped, right? Or got help, you know what I mean? And cut down the heavy. No, he couldn't even do that.
But then the bigger question for me is because of the selfishness of one person, he destroyed the dreams and aspirations of 3 people.
Yes.
Why couldn't he just walk away? He knew he wasn't gonna kick. He knew he wasn't gonna kick the habit. He knew he wasn't gonna kick it. So he should have just walked away, and they still could have continued on with the group, leaving. Then him being a damn drug addict and an alcoholic, the whole group blows up.
Exactly.
That's the problem. He should have just said, hey, I'm going to leave. I know he wouldn't think, or I wish the record labels had done it for him, because obviously, when people are on drug dependency, they're not thinking rationally, but it still doesn't mean you get to fuck it up for everybody.
Exactly.
Which is what he did.
That's exactly what he did.
Yeah.
I mean, thoroughly.
Yeah. And they all lost out. And it's hard. Those are opportunities that, a lot of people will tell you they don't get, second, especially if you're starting out new in the business, getting second and third opportunities. That's not the case. They may look at, you was a problem. The guy certainly wouldn't get a second opportunity because the record label, he's going to be blacklisted as a drunk and an alcoholic, a drug addict and an alcoholic. And, so you got, when you get those initial opportunities, you got to make them count. Especially if you ever expect to get a second chance, or for anybody that come after you. But like you said, sometimes, we like to say, oh, we shouldn't be responsible, for everybody else. I'm like, well, we just know that don't work that way for Black people. The largest society says what one Black person does, we all get looked at that same way. I don't live my life worrying about that shit, but I know they still do. I'm not dumb enough to think, well, I don't act like them, so they're not going to look at me. I'm like, they see my black skin. They're going to think it in their head.
Right.
The end.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's messed up. I'm
at $13,000 a month. What more do you want from me?
Lord. I can't take this crybaby motherfucker too. I just can't.
Oh my
God. Let's hear this crybaby.
Let me get this fast forward here. Okay, here we go.
Damn. Yo, YouTube, what's going on? Trey back again to you all another video. Hope y'all are having a very great day. Hope y'all are having a very great week also. My day is going absolutely marvelous. Big shout out to all the channel members and subscribers of the Trey King.
Tyrese Gibson, talented actor, incredible singer, on the A-list. And let's hope he has A-list money. He indicates he does, because the superstar has been ordered to pay $636,000, so much of it in child support. Here's what's going on inside a Georgia courtroom. Last month, the singer, Fast and Furious actor Tyrese Gibson was ordered to pay nearly $650,000 as a result of a tumultuous court battle with his ex-wife. An Atlanta judge ruled the voluntary child support payment, voluntary, of $2,236 the star had been making to his ex, Samantha Lee, for some 2 years simply wasn't enough for their 3-year-old daughter. Judge Kevin Farmer increased the support order to $10,690, in line with another child support order out of California, which covered the actor's older daughter. He ordered the Fast and Furious star to pay that increased amount retroactively plus interest, totaling more than $230,000. Judge Farmer also ordered Gibson must cover $399,000 of Samantha Lee Gibson's legal fees. And it's the legal fees that have been a huge contention for the superstar. As the couple's prenup indicates, they would each be responsible for their own legal bills. Show you video of Tyrese inside the courtroom last month.
And we also were hoping to accomplish shedding light on Samantha Gibson making well over $100,000 a year outside of what I make per year, and the necessary needs of the actual child are beyond met.
No, I understand. And you're aware that if you pay these amounts and then the Court of Appeals reverses it, you don't get your money back.
I am well aware of it.
All right. Do you want the court to consider you paying it into a bond so that in the event whatever the court rules, no one is prejudiced.
I would want to know more about what this means as far as a bond, but if I could position myself to show any intentionality to do that, if that's the final outcome, then I'll take care of it. But doing something that is beyond the scope of the law, it feels like punishment. It feels like it's just unnecessary. And if the roles were reversed, I just really feel like I wouldn't be sitting here.
All right, in the house, Jenny B. In the house, Camo, Kittens and Caskets. In the house, Melanated Vessel. In the house, Woo Said It. In the house, Sutton Bear. In the house, Oya. In the house, Tam 2.0. Who has a show coming up very soon? Please stay tuned. I believe it's Tam. I forgot. Is it on Tuesday or Wednesday? Tuesday or Wednesday. Can't remember. I'm old. Maya Lashan. Heathen Queen is in the house. Woo Said It in the house. I got some new glasses coming in, so I'm going to be able to read a little bit better and faster coming up. So Rico, what are your thoughts so far in this situation with him? Do you think he should pay it or what? What do you think?
Tyrese a whole motherfucking fool. He's a whole complete fool. I don't have a lick of sympathy for him, not one. I mean, I initially, the only thing that I possibly would have had a little bit of sympathy for him was on the attorney's fees, that I didn't think it was necessarily fair or right that he would have to pay her attorney's fees. But if he wasn't such a fucking asshole in the first place, he could have worked this out without it ever even going to court. Tyrese is that I'm a celebrity nigga, so I'm bigger than the law. Okay, so you got your nigga wake up call, and I really don't care. First of all, let's talk about the amount. We're talking about $10,000 a month, which is about, what is that, $120,000 a year?
Right.
Why the fuck is that too much for that nigga to pay?
Right.
I'm like, why? I don't want to hear that. She don't need $10,000. I don't know what the fuck she needs, but that ain't too much for that nigga to pay. Shut the fuck up and pay it. Regular dudes are out here paying $1,500, $2,000 a month that don't make 1/100th of what this nigga makes. So I'm sick and tired of poor people crying about the problems of rich people. Fuck them. I hope she gets $50,000 on an increase, because this nigga need to learn. Second of all, if he didn't spend all his time on the fucking internet whining like a woman, he would be out there making more movies, making more money. And because he keep going through these emotional fits, not only is the office drying up, he's sitting there taking shots at The Rock and shit. Like, I'm like, nigga, who you think gonna get you your next movie?
Right.
You know, he's doing all this shit. He's sitting there talking about calling for Martin Luther King Jr. Ain't nobody marching for your motherfucking child support. That's insulting. That is insulting and disrespectful with everything he does. And it didn't have to be this way. He could have been sat there with his lawyer and sat down with that woman and said, it's the same thing I tell my kids all the time, man. Stop fighting with them. Say, look, baby, look, and just get them what the fuck they want and move on. But you want to play this, oh, I'm going to be stubborn. I told him, I always tell him, if that white man, and this is what they say, this is the stupidity shit that they literally says. Oh, the laws is against it. The law, the family court laws are not against men. They just got to stop this stupid shit. They just really have to stop, because they completely ignore the history of how family law was prior to some of these laws coming into effect. Okay? So literally, they argue positions. I'm like, okay, the pendulum has swung, and it seems a little bit unfair, because it seems a little bit one-sided in favor of the women. But for the first 150 years, it was in favor of the men, where they just walked away and didn't do shit. If, in fact, we did not have family court laws like mandatory child support and garnishment of wages, so many fucking children would go unsupported if you just had to rely on the benevolence of the father. Because while some would do it many times more wouldn't, because you look at how many of them are crying when they're forced to do it.
Exactly.
So they're crying and they're made to do it. If they wasn't made to do it, they would. You know what they literally would tell them? I know guys like, if you ain't giving me no pussy, I'm not paying. They would do that. They would weaponize the money. So they cry how women are weaponizing child support, but men used to weaponize supporting their children. That was a fact. That was a real thing. So with Tyrese, he's coming out now. He didn't give a fuck about the family court laws before he got caught up in them. Right. Now all of a sudden he talking about, oh, I'm fighting for all men. No, nigga, you fighting for you. You fighting for you. And it's a just, I'm like, no way in hell in my mind is $10,000 is too much for me. I don't make your money, Tyrese. I know Tyrese make, if he on Fast and the Furious, he making $2-3 million. What the fuck is he talking about? And you can't pay $10,000 a month for your child? Man, you better miss me with that. And if you crying about she didn't love you, motherfucker, so what? Welcome to the real world. Like you the first simp or a nigga that got played. Stop it. It's at what? How old is he? He sounds like an 18-year-old.
Yeah, he's damn near our age.
Right. And then he's sitting online crying like I can't believe she didn't love me. Motherfucker, he shouldn't be putting that out there for, and then later on gonna talk about how much he love his kids. But your children gonna grow up and see their father acting like a bitch online. They're gonna see this shit. And then when you don't get more jobs, it's because all of a sudden, if I'm a producer or a casting director, I'm saying this nigga's too irrational. I can't put him on a project because I don't know if he's gonna last. Let some shit don't go his way.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying? He's a whole fucking ass. And I feel no sympathy for him. But it's all self-inflicted. It's all self-inflicted because he could have worked that out with that through mediation. Hey, look, okay. And from what I heard was they had originally told him before it was the higher amount, but his lawyer told him, nah, that's a miscalculation. I'm like, then take that shit up with your lawyer. Don't come to the internet crying, looking for people to come down there and march for your child support. Are you crazy?
Yeah, it just shows you how selfish he's been.
Selfish, immature, and disrespectful to call on Martin Luther King and Jr. and I think Jesse Jackson. I'm like, you calling on civil rights hero about your child support? You done lost your damn mind.
And so I assume that what you're saying is that he hasn't been very logical.
No, he's been as illogical. He's been manic. He's borderline manic. He needs to get counseling. Tyrese needs a heavy dose of therapy. I'm not a doctor, but like, motherfucker, somebody needs to talk to you. And you need to stop talking to the internet. And then you'll see him tomorrow. He'll be booed up with that little 20-year-old thing. Do you remember the 20-year-old girl that said she wanted to be with, she'd rather be with the white boy, Paul Walker? He gonna be crying about her next.
That one.
Yeah. That's his new girlfriend that's 25 years. He gonna be crying about her that she didn't love me either. Shut the fuck up.
Oh, so he took Kevin Samuel's advice.
Yeah. Got the young girl. The young girl came on the video and said that he wasn't her first choice. It was Paul Walker, the white boy that got killed. And I'm like, and you still fuck. I'm like, I don't want him but no fucking Tyrese, dumbass.
You know, the funny thing about that is that the little bit I do know, because I am not in the legal field, but I do know that in court proceedings like this, when it has to do with child support or spousal support of some sort, that emotion does play a part in it. And you would think he would have just played it low key until he got the final bill from before chasing around 25-year-old.
Yeah.
I'm sure that didn't make his ex-wife happy.
Right. And he been messing with that little 20-something-year-old because she's been all on Instagram and everything with him for the last probably almost 2 years. Pretty much the whole. I don't know how long he been fighting with his ex, but it's just like he just put all that stuff out there, and then of course, like you say, the illogic of them. And it's the same thing I tell my son, be like, I can say and I can do whatever I want. And I'm like, you can, but then there are consequences to it. So you can't say I can say and do what I want, like Tyrese, and I always even equate it to myself. And then you put it out there. Then when you suffer the consequences of that decision, then you want to be the victim. No, you ain't no victim. This is a direct result of you saying whatever you wanted because you had a right to. So when you decide that that's the position you're going to take, as they always say, hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. Prepare that, like just when you was sitting there correcting sissy ass abroad about all publicity, like no such thing. There's good and bad. So when you don't prepare for things going poorly, then when you poorly plan, you know what I'm saying? If you don't prepare for it, you're gonna get fucked. And Tyrese, as a man going in on child support, you know you're gonna pay. I'm like, what did Tyrese expect? I'm Tyrese, I'm gonna walk away and I'm gonna wink at the judge and give him 100. Judges in Georgia don't give a fuck about you. I was in Georgia and I was ordered to pay almost $1,000 25 years ago. And I was fucking barely making minimum wage. I'm like, $10,000 I was paying. I was ordered. They was asking for $1,000. I was ordered to pay $500 in Columbus, Georgia, because that's where I got out at Fort Benning at the time. And the only reason why I got my payment down to $500 was I had to go to court. I had to fly from Maryland. I'm from DC all the way to Georgia and tell them I can't pay $1,000 because I got 5 other fucking kids. They didn't care. They were going to take 25% of my income and they wanted $1,000. So I had to fight. And I was like, okay, fuck it. I'll pay. He said, how much you got? I said, okay, $500. And I couldn't afford to pay that, but that's what I agreed to. And that was literally 25. Damn near my daughter's 30 something. She was fucking 15. That was almost 20, 25 years ago. So I'm like, 10,000? Come on, Tyrese, you winning with that.
Right.
For who you are. I know he got, somebody look up what he made in the goddamn Fast and Furious. Each movie, I know he making $2-3 million a movie.
I mean, and plus he's got to know there's a preference fee.
Right.
Which is the weird thing because black men come on here and we complain about child support versus black women, but it's not black women that are cleaning up.
Nope, not like that. But I'm just sitting there saying, if you just do the math, I'm like, okay, dude, nigga, you do one Fast and Furious movie a year. If your income is just $3 million a year, and you paying $10,000 for the one in California, so okay, now both of them together, you got $250,000 a year in child support, but you making $3 million a movie per year. If your yearly income is $3 million and you got to pay out $250,000 in child support, I don't give a fuck if you broke, because that fucked over $2,750,000. Don't come crying to me. It ain't your kids that got you broke. It's all that other stupid shit you doing.
Right.
What are you doing with the other $2,750,000 that the $1,000 in child support is just too much?
Exactly. Again, he's not coming to the realization that he made this all happen himself. Why did they get a divorce? What happened?
He probably was an ass. Look at the way he cried. Be like two women living together. I'm serious. I'm like, God dang. Now.
To the stage, you can't get laid. How you doing tonight?
I'm okay. I just wanted to ask you, DJ, do you think that a lot of the reasons why men are more emotional now is because of like equality, like women are able to work more, women are able to get their own bread and able to be almost as equal to a man? I know men still get paid more, but I just wanted to, and no disrespect, DJ, I'm not trying to disrespect your platform, but I have been having people that were stalkers, and I'm going to keep it cute here because I know this person is here, But I just want to, I'm not going to do that on this platform.
No,
But
it's going
I
to be
just
all
want to
good.
know,
It's going to be, we good. We good. Don't worry.
okay. So I just want to know, do you feel as though that is the reason why that men are more in touch with their emotional sides now, because they don't have to have the burden of like working, like bringing home the bacon and having all the responsibilities? And
I don't know. My point of view is this. I'm hard pressed to even believe men were even have been logical. I mean, I don't know. We've done a lot of shit. We've started wars because we got pissed off. We beating each other up because we're mad. We're deleting each other because we're mad. We're deleting women because we're mad. So when you think of it like that, I mean, where's the logic at all? When did that logic go away? When Kevin Samuels said men are logical and women are emotional, I was flabbergasted because I'm sitting down here thinking, it's like, wait a minute. Usually it's the woman cooling down the man when the man gets a bad temper, like at a restaurant or something, right? And he wants to fight the waiter or the bartender or the another person there. Isn't it the woman who's pulling the man away and saying, come on, calm down? So who's the emotional one in that situation?
now that I think about it.
DJ, here's one way, if I can just jump in for a second. The way I've always thought about it, because I would always hear that narrative, and I was always say back to them that men are just as emotional as women, but what the problem is like we all have a range of emotions: happiness, sadness, anger, joy, melancholy. Everybody has a range of emotions, but the way we're both raised, men for the most part, we're taught to repress most of our emotions except the anger. The anger is allowed to be let free. So typically as men grow up, the only emotion that they have any familiarity with or any type of control, if they have any, is the emotion of anger or rage, because that's the only one that they most frequently are allowed to express. Because a lot of times, and I've even been guilty of it, you're not allowed to express sadness, crying, because like they said, you're a boy, you're not supposed to express that. Where women, I believe, are more emotionally mature because you guys are taught to tap into the whole range of your emotions. So I don't believe that men are not emotional. I believe we're as emotional as women. It's just the fact that we always go to a singular emotion, which seems to always be anger. It's like for everything, it's anger. We don't even hold on to when I'm, even when I'm happy, it's hard for me to stay happy. Men generally will be happy and walk around looking for some shit to get mad about. Because that's how we kind of wired. It's kind of weird.
I can definitely understand that. I mean, to me, it's just hard for me to realize what we believe as men. I mean, we can't really believe. How did all of these men believe a man saying that men are logical and women are emotional, but women are admittedly, at least in the red pill system, they're complaining because they feel women are doing better than them. So if women are doing better than you, how can they be less logical since they are doing better? Obviously, they're making better decisions because you can only be doing worse as if you make bad decisions, right?
But DJ, I wanted to say this before I leave. About you were talking about Ye or Kanye, whatever the heck his name is. I think that Kanye West, that Kim's boyfriend, her new boyfriend was Jewish. Like, I don't want to say the word. I can't say it. Was the J word.
Okay.
So I think that he's having a lot of issues because most of the people at the top in Hollywood, they're not letting him really into their little group. And he has a lot of resentment for like the J word. So he decided that Okay, well, I'm going to take on this Hitler philosophy, and I'm going to, maybe that'll make me feel more powerful than them. You think that may be the case?
I don't know. I think he's been at it. He's been at it for a while. Now, what I will say is that the fact that gentleman is what you said.
Which boyfriend is this? Talking about Pete? The
Yeah,
comedian?
Yeah, Davidson or whatever.
Pete Davidson?
Yeah.
So I think it made him worse, but he had already been that way, if you know what I mean.
But who the fuck in their right mind would let him in their group anyway? I don't have no money and Kanye can't hang with me.
Right.
Because he's stupid.
Exactly.
I just like, so he, I mean, I don't know if that was his mission. That further cements to me just how goddamn dumb then he's dumber than I thought. That's not going to ingratiate yourself. Why would I sit there? It's like these red pill guys. They're always bashing women, but don't understand why they can't get a woman. I'm like, duh. You can't keep shitting on women talking about, see, that was wrong. The women in America ain't right. Yeah, because you keep shitting on them.
Exactly.
So that's Kanye thing. He want to get in with them people. He was almost there, but he just couldn't shut up.
I know.
He did the same thing with, like you said, with the first story. He might as well been a drug addict and an alcoholic because he did the same shit. He just did it to Gap and to Adidas.
Right.
That's what he did. He did the same thing as the guy was, I'm just gonna keep showing my ass until I lose it all. Good. And I don't think he ever gonna get it back. Everybody, remember all them red pill? Oh, it's a masterpiece move. Now he can go get it on. I'm like, good luck. Good luck believing you gonna get anything in this damn world without them folks. You have lost your mind. Oh, he can make his own shoe. I'm like, he wasn't making them damn Yeezys y'all was buying. Adidas was making them. He has no distribution. He has no idea what business is. You know what he is? He's like the average Negro, flamboyant. We want to be seen, but not willing to do the work behind the scenes. Kanye wasn't doing no work to build no dynasty. He was singing and rapping, doing some drawings and being flashy. And that's fine. But now when you pull back the curtain, everybody see the little wizard ain't got no clothes on. And now he's running around with white supremacists looking fucking stupid. Hey, where's his newest album? I ain't heard no music dropping. I ain't seeing no clothes dropping. We going on a year when they done threw his ass in the garbage. All we see him running around is with a new thought. Where's his new album? Because where's the record label that said, oh, Kanye about to drop some new music? Where's the new clothes? Where's the new shoes? Where? Because them folks ain't gonna do. He can come up with the baddest shoe in the world. Who gonna distribute them? Who gonna manufacture them? Because the way they work is they pick up the phone and they call them other companies and say, if you're working with him, you can't do business with me. The end.
Right.
When a bank give you your fucking money back, you a problem. When a bank say we don't want your money.
Yeah.
We forget that, right?
Oh, that man.
We forgot all that happened to him.
Let me kick some shout outs real quick. In the House, Sudden Bell, Peace Purveyor, Spro Show, Melanated Vessel. We got LaQuinto Fox has showed up. Welcome. Let me play this video right here because this is a very interesting point.
What's up, you guys? I want to talk to you guys as I deep condition my hair because I've been thinking about something and I wanted to get you guys' opinions on it. So what I've noticed is that heterosexual Black men, they're constantly telling Black women that we intentionally go after the hood guys, you know, the Pookies and the Ray Rays. But if you notice, they always accuse us of not liking good men. On the flip side of that is anytime you come across a Black man who is standing up for Black women and, you know, preaching, you know, pretty much protecting us, heterosexual Black consider those guys to be either part of the Rainbow Coalition or simps. So my question is, They say that Black women do not like good Black men, but I've come to the conclusion that Black men don't like good Black men because they're constantly upset at the Black men who do protect Black women, who will step up and, co-parent with a woman who had a baby who ain't his, but he's willing to step up and fill that role for that child, like Russell Wilson. Like, they're pissed off at Russell Wilson because he's seen a little Black boy in need of a real father, and he stood up and filled in that gaps, and they can't stand it. So I've also noticed a lot on social media that when Black men are defending Black women, there's always a bunch of heterosexual Black men in the comment section calling him a simp or accusing him of liking men. So by their own admittance, all heterosexual males do not defend or like women. So, I mean, isn't that crazy? They really feel like if a man is defending Black women and taking up for us, then it's because he has to be homosexual or he has to be a simp. So does that make sense to you guys? Let me know below in the comments what you think about that, because apparently they accuse us of not being able to make good choices in men, but it seems from their commentary that if you are looking for heterosexual males, you're going to come across the ones who are abusive towards women. Think about it. They don't even like feminism. They hate feminism. Heterosexual males hate feminism because it protects women.
If you're one,
That makes, I mean, that's the perfect point. And that tells me that men are not logical. These men, especially she said heterosexual males. I can only express it towards the red pill men right now. But yeah, it's like they don't like women, because if they did, they would respect women and at least respect the men that do respect women. But they don't. They don't. They don't. They come up. That's how many of these channels are on here? There must be hundreds, if not thousands, of these channels against women. It's mostly Black women.
You know what, DJ? It's that they don't have respect for Black womanhood. They don't respect Black women's femininity, or they don't respect Black women as women. Like, the Black men are taught to disrespect Black women, and Black women are the most unprotected woman on the planet. So it's just, I feel as though they just don't have any respect for Black women's womanhood. I mean, they're taught to respect that the women of non-color are, they're the only femininity that should be respected. That's what I believe. But
that makes a lot of sense. Rico, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I ain't nothing I can add to it. You guys nailed it. I mean, it's just flat out. And the red pill men, they're just hard to take. They're hard to understand. Nothing they say makes any sense. And I do think it is centered, because I haven't seen or trafficked in white red pill spaces. And you know what I find is hilarious was if you guys, I know you guys probably saw that whatever podcast where they were talking about Endure. And the young white girl was talking about, well, what if a woman was a victim of domestic violence, physical assault? And everybody went on this guy. It was hilarious because it was a white podcast called the Whatever Podcast. And they're supposed to be this conservative Christian podcast. And the guy was saying, oh, you can't get divorced. You can't leave. You can't leave. There's no such thing as divorce. And the young white girl said, well, what if somebody's beating the person? And they was like, Endure, that's what's wrong. And it was this one guy that was a complete asshole. But what I noticed about that was, in that space, in that conversation, it was 100% a white podcast. Numerous other podcasts came out going after that guy, saying, what in the fuck? Abba and Preach, all of them like, what in the fuck are you talking about? Telling women, but the visual was it was a white woman. Now, and I wondered to myself, now, what if that was a black podcast with black women and a black man had said the same thing? Would the protection have been this? Would the outrage have been the same? I don't think it would have been.
No.
I just think they would have been like, he's right. You just can't leave a man for any little reason, because that's what they say. Oh, because just Pacey. Oh, women would just make up and just leave for anything. But because it was a white woman, it was for the last week a lot of pushback in YouTube, and people have done stream after stream after stream about this guy named MLD. He's gone back to Japan. But I said, yeah, but it was a white guy, and he was talking about a white woman being beat, and then the level of protection in the space reared up quickly. But I don't see that when it's black women. So I do think that it is a serious problem, and it's a race problem.
Right.
All right.
Yeah,
Heathen Queen in the house right now. Let me say something real quick, just to throw it out there, and then I'm gonna hand it over to the Heathen, and then hand it over to You Can't Get Laid. Don't you guys find it kind of eerily weird that as much money? Remember when Dr. Dre got all that money? His ex-wife got all that money. Why is it that when a preference gets money, these men have less of a problem? Remember when they were grilling Will Smith's wife for being bald, and them having some emotional situations? They still married, right? They had video after video, just throwing across the coals, right? But when these women that are not black, okay, are taking every penny from these dudes, or a lot of money, let's just say a lot, right? They have no problem. They have no problem with that.
And you know what's really also very disturbing, DJ, is I don't know it factually, but I do believe I can't think of a lot of cases where a black woman divorced a black man and took him to the cleaners.
I can't either.
Because in a lot of instances, they in their divorces and they leave that black man intact. I think about like the billionaire Bob Johnson. His wife didn't take him to the cleaners. Hell no. She left him intact.
Yep.
So we see these occasions where, wealthy black people divorce. And yes, that's just to walk away with a nice little nest egg. But she leaves that man intact. Sierra, all these, even these baby mamas, what I'm saying? They're not, these black women are not trying to take everything from these black men.
Right.
But these goddamn preferences will. And that's the truth.
Queen speak.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
hello. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Sure can.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think it comes from jealousy. It is something in the male psyche that is black male psyche that is jealous of the black woman because she came from the same circumstances that they did, and yet she excelled in the circumstances that we found ourselves. We adapted much quicker than they did. You say they will let a preference get away with things that they won't let a black woman get away with. Why is that? There is no different. We're all female, same thing. It's always been a jealousy thing. It has always been that you may not be conscious of it. Most men are not conscious of it, but when they see you're just like we are, why are you excelling at doing things and we can't excel at doing things? We are on the same playing field because men look at us black women as the same as them. But we seem to have adapted to the circumstances much better than they have adapted to the circumstances. And they will not let us have a triumph or they will not let us have a success, because they're supposed to be excelling just like we are excelling as Black people. But we are different. We just happen to be able to adopt. But the whole thing is, I believe the fact that we are female, and the fact that white men also look at us as female, they look at us as the weaker sex. They look at us as needing to have help. They look at us that way. They look at us just like they look at white women, except less so. But they do see us as women and as the weaker sex. Therefore, we need to be protected. You have to look in terms of how do white men look at women? And most of them look at all women as the weaker sex who need help. So therefore, we were able to get help right along with the white women. Well, she needs this help, she needs that. And they look at the Black man as just like them. So you need to get it out of the dirt, sir. We're not going to help you Black men, but we will help the Black women, because they're weaker just like our women. They're weak just like our women. So therefore, we will give them a leg up, but we won't give you Black men a leg up. It's always been you can ask any white guy, he's going to think women are weaker than I am. So therefore, whether she's Black, white, Chinese, whatever, we know they need help more than we need help. And we're not going to help men. Okay. So therefore, when Black men look at us, they know that we get help, or we're getting more help than they are, compared to, the fact that they won't get any help, right? Because they're men. I believe it's a jealousy thing. Instinctively, they're not going to help you because you're another man. But that white guy is going to help a Black woman because he knows she's in a category as being weaker than he is. That's the way he looks at it. So therefore, it's a jealousy thing. I believe it's complete jealousy thing on the part of Black men, and they're not conscious of it. Maybe they haven't sat down and thought about it, but it cannot be anything other than that. And when we present successes, we present the fact that we went to school, we got jobs, we did this, we did that, we did this, despite the fact that there's racism and sexism against a female. It's jealousy. Why can't we do the same thing? And we're men. It's because the white man doesn't have favor to you Black men. They have favor to us Black women because we are women, because they look at us as weaker. I mean, that's my thought on it.
Black men don't. I noticed one thing, and I may be wrong, I'm not a man, but DJ, do you believe, or Rico, do you believe that Black men, I think that Black men just inherently think that women are equal in terms of physical, emotional. They believe that women are equal all around, and white men don't believe this. They just believe women are inferior. And I know this for a fact, but the majority of them believe women are inferior. And I want to know, why don't Black men just don't have this belief system? They don't believe that a woman is weaker or a woman can't do stuff. Am I wrong in that assumption?
Well, my opinion, and I'm going to hand it over to Rico, is that I believe Black men are more and more following the ideologies of white men, conservative white men. That's why the red pill manosphere is here. They want to control women. If they thought women were
equal, put in the work first, don't you? Like, for those conservative white guys, they put in the infrastructure. And
okay, let me finish what I was saying.
Okay.
If they thought Black women were equal, then that would show they would probably respect Black women more, because they see them as their equal. But as you both see, that they don't do that. Now, as the thing is that you came in late, but I was showing some Nazi Germany stuff and everything like that. And the thing is this, to me, it's like this: the black men feel inferior to almost every other man in the United States, because if we didn't, we would be competing with them and not black women. You see my point? We're competing with black women. Don't ask me how. Don't ask me why we're doing this, but that's what we're doing. I mean, you would be thinking like, oh yeah, man, you know, I'm really looking. How many black community channels do you see on here about trying to get, you know, how to deal with workplace discrimination or getting a better job, or how to spend when you do make the money, how to spend it right, how to get the best deal on buying assets in property? Very few. But my God, you can, every other page, these guys are coming out of woodwork blaming black women for something. It's left and right. So they don't want to. The thing is that, and I learned that this is really in life. This is really not just black. It's just not black male nature. It's losers' nature. That's how I know these guys are losers, because they're doing things losers do. This is the experiences I had growing up. When the jargon I hear from them is the jargon I hear from losers that feel like they're about to lose a game. When I was playing sports, I played soccer, and I swear, when I knew we were going to win the game when I heard the opposing team bickering with each other. They would start bickering. You should have been to your point. You know, why'd you let him get past you so easy? I know. I'm like, okay, we got him now. This guy over here, they're not going to communicate right. So let's go after this side. We're going to do this. I knew it. And it was like 99% of the time, no, 100% of the time, that's what happened. So they don't know. See, other cultures know, and they see my brothers losing. They hear, not so much by doing physical losing things, except for the fact that they see us conflict. They see us bickering. They see us bickering with our women and forget the basic rule of life when it comes to men. Men are not men if you cannot protect your women. Right. We do not. We forgot all about that shit. We forgot all about that, but we can sure diss our women really good.
You know what crystallized it for me? What crystallized the stark difference between white men and black men was when Angry Man took his tail over there to talk to that Destiny person. And that Destiny person cooked his tail about the garbage that he was spewing about black women. When Destiny cooked him on that show, I was like, you showing exactly how black men feel about their women. And Destiny is trying to tell you that it ain't the black women, it's the black men. He's trying to tell you that, but you're not listening. It was 3 of them on that panel trying to go at Destiny, and Destiny was roasting them all, just kept roasting them. And that crystallized it for me. That is exactly how black men, the bulk of them, think, is how Angry Man was, what he was saying on that panel. And Destiny was saying exactly how the white people think on that panel. They say they know that you have to be in college. It was a matter of embarrassment. That was a level of embarrassment that I couldn't even fathom. It was like I couldn't even look at the screen anymore after I heard that whole stream of the way they got took to the cleaners by that Destiny. I don't care who said what, he wasn't cooked. Angry Man and those 2 guys that was with him were cooked for saying that garbage about black women on a white panel.
Hey, right. DJ, yeah, I think that was Sway in the Morning and the Patriarchy Strikes Back. Those were the other 2 fucking idiots that was over there with Angry Man. Oh, okay. I remember. I know that stream you talking about, and he literally embarrassed them. And Angry Man should have never did another podcast after that, because all the stats that he was putting out about how a paternity established, I was like, if nigga was dumb was in the fucking book, it would be his picture. I mean, because he was just literally saying he was saying all of these ghetto tropes that you hear in the hood that people make up, like, oh, right, a woman could just put any man. So DJ, you sitting in Nevada and Camel, somebody somewhere have a baby, I'm gonna put DJ down as the daddy, and they make you be the daddy. I'm like, nigga, right, shut the fuck up making it. I mean, he was going on and on about this.
Right.
So it was so embarrassing.
It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing for I would, as a black man, I would have been embarrassed.
Yeah, I was.
To have that representation.
I
was embarrassed.
You know?
I was heated. I was coming through the screen. I was so heated. I'm like, this is why they call us stupid, because we let the stupid talk.
And then he said, Destiny said one thing that really just solidified it. He said, Angry Man said something about we do this, that, and we do this, that. We take care of our kids and we do something he was saying. And then Destiny just came straight out of his mouth and said, the whole world knows you guys don't take care of your kids.
Right. And with where he beat him down was basically where Destiny told him the stats show that where men fight for custody of their children, the majority of the time the men win.
Right.
The reason why so few men have custody of their children is 90% of them don't bother to fight.
Right.
So, and what I sat there and said, and he came with this stupid shit, and I even heard the lead attorney tell his stupid shit. Well, a good lawyer, let me tell you something. If you are a man and your lawyer tell you, you go to your lawyer and you tell him you want to fight for custody of your child, and he tells you not to, fire that motherfucker. Fire him.
Right.
That is not the place for your attorney. He can tell you, hey, it's not a good chance you're going to get custody of him. But they should not advise. That's like you got a murder charge and he tell you don't fight for your freedom. Yeah, that might be a small chance I'm gonna win, but goddamn it, I don't want no lawyer that's gonna tell me not to fight for it. So that advice, and I've heard the lead attorney put out, is such horrible legal advice. You give the advice that we don't think you stand a good chance. It's probably like a 25% or 20%, but it's up to me if I'm willing to spend the money. But you're going to sit there and say, oh, you're going to be out $50,000. These are my motherfucking kids. I'll be out of $500,000. Don't you dare tell me. So you're saying that fighting for my child isn't worth this money I might lose.
Right.
So I'll make that determination, not you. You can just tell me what you think my chances are of winning, and I can accept that. But don't tell me not to do it, because people do it every day, and people win in spite of even their attorney's advice.
Right.
In spite of. So I would hate the fact that I didn't fight for custody of my children, didn't get them because I listened to this fucking goofball tell me not to fight. That's ridiculous. So, but I just wanted to say this. I think what you said, DJ, is very true in the fact of the ideology of black men is supporting white supremacy. It is very, very deeply rooted. I would say almost 100% in the red pill community. They uphold white supremacy all day, every day, and just too goddamn stupid to realize it. But it also has expanded outside of the red pill community. And I would say black men writ large, not as much. Because when we look at things like, what's the biggest and best way to power in any community? It's political power. Black men are some of the worst. Black men are probably the worst fucking voting bloc. We're terrible because they don't believe, they've been fed this ideology of it don't matter, this, that, whatever. Well, it certainly isn't going to matter if you don't have political power. We didn't used to always be that way. We used to be very politically engaged as black men, but black women are far more engaged politically, running for office, voting, even though black men still have a better chance of winning because we are in a fucking patriarchy. But black women are more engaged in the political process. And I'm like, for you guys to complain about the laws around criminal justice, family law, all the shit you cry butthurt about, but yet you don't want to get off your ass and do nothing about it. It's ridiculous to me. So I get frustrated because for me, I always try to put most of my energy into dismantling systems of anti-blackness because I know it exists globally. So I'm not pro-black, I'm against anti-blackness. So when I hear black men who don't want to participate in, movements or getting involved in things, when I hear dumbass ideas about don't be a stepfather, I'm like, but then we cry about the state of fatherless children in our communities, but you're telling young men or men who may want to stepfather not to. You're disparaging them, and it's offensive to me. I'm like, I'm not telling nobody to be a stepfather because it's something that's a personal choice, a personal decision. But back in the day, we had a lot of stepfathers, and I'm like, so why would you encourage men that if he sit there and meet the woman that is perfect soulmate, the love of his life, one of you little dusties and already fathered with her, he shouldn't consider it? I'm like, I'll tell the dude, it's up to him. I think that advice is very immature. It's common advice that's put out in the red pill space, and they just sit there like, oh, you a stepfather, you a simp, like you're less than man. And I'm like, no, that's the complete opposite. Because you got the shoulders and the strength and the backbone to do shit that most of these punk motherfuckers ain't built to do. You can do that because everybody ain't built to be one. I understand that. So everybody shouldn't be one. But I will never tell someone who's willing to take the time and thought and say, hey, I'm going to make this commitment and I may want to marry this woman and she may have children. And, obviously you're not going to make them get rid of their kids. Hey, kudos to you if that's what you want to do. Women do it all the time. So I'm like, you got women out here with kids that'll marry a dude, and it's like, oh, he ain't bring the kids to the house because the motherfucker ain't taking care of them. But he got 6, 7 of them out here. So women do it all the time. It will be a guy with kids, not raising, telling other men not to be a stepfather, thereby ensuring that his children will never have a father in their life because he's not in them. That's the insanity.
Right. I didn't get along with that Kevin Samuels, but that was what I wasn't a fan of his. I just discovered him as a content creator. But when I heard that, the one thing I really didn't like about him was when he said, "Don't be a stepfather." Why are you out here discouraging people to find that? I looked at it as discouraging people to find they mate.
Exactly.
People to find somebody to love, because you never know who is right around the corner. And that woman may have 1, 2, 3 kids. She may. You don't know, okay, until you meet her. Right? And that's why they keep encouraging our men to deal with somebody younger and younger. Hey, y'all deal with the young girls. Get them pregnant.
Make more single mothers, right? This is crazy.
More single mothers.
Right. You're making the problem worse.
Right. Instead of just making it work with trying to make it work for your baby mama. I get it. But see, the thing is, people ain't built like they used to be. You don't put the toilet seat down. They ready to leave.
Right. But if you can't make it, but that doesn't mean that because I couldn't make it work with my baby mama, that I can't make it work with somebody else's baby mama.
That's right.
So that's what I'm sitting there saying. It's like, I just don't get, I'm like, why are y'all discouraging people? And y'all don't know it's hard enough to pair. Right. So if a person is lucky enough to say, hey, look, I'm lucky enough to have found my soulmate, and she just so happened had a kid, I'm not letting that shit go by. That's crazy.
And that's exactly how I feel. It's tough enough to find somebody to love you for who you are on this planet. Why are you restricting who you can love and who you can't love? And you eliminating all these possibilities that you can find the love of your life within that group of people.
Right.
You just stuck on this end.
Exactly. And in the meantime, be like, oh, I don't want to raise somebody else's kid. Motherfucker, you're not raising yours. Right?
Boom.
So I'm like, the nerve. Right? You don't want to raise somebody else's, but you're not raising your own.
Right.
That's the part that just blows, because that's how Kevin was. Kevin, he's single father. Like, yeah, but motherfucker, but you ain't raising your own.
Right.
You got a lot of fucking nerve.
What crazy? They ain't had this smoke for Brian McKnight's preference, but the sad part was her daughter and his daughter go to the same school. He don't even fool with the biological daughter that is his.
Right. But I just, I like I said, I don't preach that anybody should do it. I just think it's wrong for people to be discouraging or telling somebody, like you said, like look at the way they talk about Russell Wilson. They talk about him like he a piece of shit because he taking care of when he met Sierra. I'm like, that woman is fucking drop dead gorgeous. Y'all niggas need to stop lying like all y'all with the stepdaddy that boy.
Yeah, and the whole shebang is this. He found somebody that loves him for him.
Yes.
She found somebody to love her for her.
Yes.
Y'all hating on that.
And gave him, 2-3 more babies?
Right.
And he would be a fool to let that go. That's his soulmate.
Because she had one child,
right?
She ain't no good no more. But
Dumbass. Man, that burns me up.
That's just asinine thinking to me. Because you never know. See, I'm one of those people that came from having children and then finding the love of my life. I had 2 kids before I married my husband. I had 2.
Right.
Okay? And we met, and it was just such a connection between us that he never looked at me and said, I wish you didn't have 2 kids.
Right.
And I was married to this man for 30 years, so you can't tell me that it don't work.
It works every day. It works a lot more than these fools be sitting there telling.
Right. So I'm saying I'm not advocating that you just go out and look for single mothers. But what I am saying is if she just happened to be a single mother, don't turn her away and tell her she ain't no good and she a 3 or 4 because she got a kid or she got 2 kids, because that's not how it is. You
can clearly tell them, like I tell them, if your ass over 30, you getting a single mother.
Yeah.
When you get to a certain age, that's called just being a goddamn grown up.
Right.
Okay, you're not 18, 19. So if you 30 and you dating in your age range, and you're black. If you are a person of color at the age of 30 and older, you can't. If you're going to exclude single mothers, then shit, you ain't looking for no woman, because you're making it so difficult. I'm not saying that they're not some. We know that they are.
Right.
But we know that, come on, that's silly.
Yeah,
to sit there and say, I want a single mom. I'm like, man, get away from here.
The lane is so small. You limit yourself to just this lane when there's millions of women out there that could be your mate, because you so worried about she got kids or she doing this or she doing that. You so worried about all of that garbage that you missing the person that could be the love of your life right there that's sitting around the corner from you because you got kids. I know a man who didn't have no kids and married a woman who had 7 kids.
Woo, okay. I just said I've known several men with no kids. My best friend, he has never had any kids. He married his wife. She had 2. She didn't have 7, but she had 2, and they've been married. Shit, Mike and Diane been married like 30 years.
Right.
30, 35 years. My wife I'm married to, she had 2 kids. I had kids too.
Right.
So it's like, at a certain age, if you're a person of color, and the only way you can even possibly lower it is if you expand your options outside your ethnicity.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, still, when you start taking into account white women, Latino women, shit, it's again, if you over 30, they all got kids. It's Latino women. My wife's Hispanic. I'm like, hell no. If they over 30, they got kids.
Right.
You are not going to find a Latino woman over 30, over 25 without a kid. They have the same birth rate as black women. So I'm like, where you going to find a woman that ain't got a kid at?
I mean, they looking there, but they got kids, but they want to deal with a woman who ain't got no kid instead of worrying about the kids that you got too.
Right.
You guys want to know something? You guys want to know something? Kevin Samuels has these men chasing after unicorns.
Exactly.
That's what he's doing. That's his memory, because he's not here anymore. Let me kick in some shout outs and then let's hear a little bit from J Mike, see what's on his mind. In the house, we have Bridget Mouton, Jenny B, Happy Life, Tomas, Monica M. Prism. We have Black Women Rise. We have Henry Mars. We have Claudette Jonay in the house. We have Camo. We have, better known as Kitten and Caskets, of course, Jay Daniels in the house doing his regular stuff, folks. We love Jay Daniels. Don't we love some Jay Daniels? Yep, we love them. Monica M in the house. Melanated Vessel in the house. H.T. Baldwin in the house. We got everybody up in here. If I missed your name, just type something. Oh, Sutton Bell is in the house too. Just type your name at the bottom. Type something into the chat so I can see you. But J. Mike, what's on your mind tonight? What are you thinking? Are Black men logical and are Black women emotional, or what do you think?
It's a mixture of both, because yes, there are Black men. There are a lot of Black men that are illogical, but at the same time, it goes both ways with certain individuals.
So you believe it's probably a person to person kind of situation?
Yeah,
I would agree. Let me play this video real quick. Here we go.
So I'm actually doing a social experiment. I realize that I get really defensive when men talk about that they like natural beauty, bare faces, no weave. Because I feel like, based on my observation and my experiences, it's not true.
No one cares.
Now, here's a point and funny thing about this video right here. Look at this dusty old dude, messed up beard, Section 8 back in the day, I guess he's trying to roast this young lady. And what's funny to me is that him saying nobody cares, right? Well, in that case, then why should a Black woman date you? If you don't care, then that's not, you should just, why should you're just giving Black women, Mr. Dusty, Mr. Section 8, a good reason to find other options. Because if you got, how many people on here? Yeah, 324K people. Wait, no, 466K people, right?
Right.
That he's let's say 500,000 people following him, not caring, right? Why should anybody, male or female, want to be with somebody who doesn't care?
See, I don't believe him. I don't believe you. I don't believe that he believed it. I believe her. I like her answer. Why do I believe? Why I believe her answer? Because we just had the biggest example of that whole blatant hypocrisy that they have over in the manosphere. That Derek Jacks, wasn't he over there knocking down them those OnlyFans chicks or whoever he was knocking down? And don't they have BBLs, and don't they have BBLs and all that? And look at his wife. She looking plain as day. Hair natural, no makeup. This is what y'all say y'all want. But he over there knocking off them Instagram.
Right. Exactly.
So why he ain't at home with the fresh face, with the pregnant wife, with the wife with the natural hair? Why
I'm glad you brought up Derek Jackson, because here's the funny part. Why he's doing both of these couples are doing exactly what, this is an ironic thing. They both did exactly what Kevin Samuels wanted a couple to do.
Mm-hmm.
He got to cheat when he wanted to, right?
Right.
She let him do it, whether she liked it or not, right? She was submissive. She was feminine. She was all of that, right?
Natural, all of that.
All of that.
Right.
So that's the funny part, is the logical part, and it's gonna blow some minds, but really, quite honestly, he is the best. This mess here is the best example of a Kevin Samuels result you're going to get.
There you go. There you go.
I mean, the only difference is that he pandered to women. But obviously, since he didn't practice what he preached, he obviously didn't mean what he was saying.
Right.
So basically, though, in many ways, in a very weird and sad way, he's like Kevin Samuels in real life on steroids.
He's exactly what Kevin said would be a high value man. And then when the woman he takes home, fit, feminine, friendly, no makeup, no hair, no nothing. But what was he doing out the back door? He was over there messing with them Instagram. I don't know the women that he was messing with, but he wasn't messing with women that looked like her.
Right.
They had weaves and BBLs and nails, and they had all and makeup. They had all of that.
They sure did. They sure did. Yeah, and she let him do it, just like Kevin Samuels was imploring those women to do. You got to let him cheat. She's taking care of you, right?
But the problem is,
right? Let him cheat. Let him cheat.
The problem is he don't have any of that sexual discipline that Mr. Kevin Samuels was talking about, because he said sexual discipline is a part of being that high value man.
Kevin Samuels' ass ain't have no sexual discipline. He just was messing with boys.
Yeah, I know, right?
Bullshit. He was out there hoeing and twerking too.
Right. On top of the fact that he died with a chunky girl on top of him.
That's just that bullshit he tell them. He ain't bit more had no damn discipline than nobody else.
No.
Yeah. That is so true. That, I mean, the thing is that that's what's so funny is that how logical is it to believe a man, how to follow a man, right? No, and it's really, I should say men, because a lot of these men in the red pill are the same thing. They've had a sordid past. They have had a hypocritical past. They ask for accountability, but aren't accountable for their own actions or paying their own child support, right? I don't mind. I mean, the thing is this: if he said nothing and I didn't know about him, it's different. But if you're gonna diss women all day, every day, then you should be on point with everything. But he wasn't. He owed child support and only paid it because it was making him look bad that he didn't pay it. That's how it went. Right. And on top of that, he wasn't a good person. Nobody had anything good to say when he passed off, except for the fake people. And the funny thing is, so Angry Man's the same way.
Right.
Look, Obsidian's the same way.
Ain't nobody gonna miss none of them niggas.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they're not. They're not. They're really, and that's the where is the logic in following failures?
Mm-hmm.
No, where's the logic in that? It's like, if you guys really want me to believe this men are logical thing and eat it up, then shouldn't we follow people that have shown us a respectable and professional way of living life and a good way of living life? You know, why are we chasing after people that got to look behind their back?
The best advice I can give DJ is look at these niggas and do the opposite. That's it. Do the complete opposite, because these motherfuckers are terrible.
Oh, let me tell you something, Rico, though. When I play this video, it's going to get on your nerves, though. I got to warn you. You ready? Here we go.
Let me take another sip.
No, nigga, I'm telling you, nigga, I served time for killing the white man. It's orchestrated and documented, nigga. Then I'm telling you I'm online about I rape white hoes. Why would?
But now when you say you rape white hoes, you ain't saying it like you actually rape white hoes.
I did. Yeah, I am. I'm saying it like I gave scenarios where I done it. You must ain't seen the video.
I seen the video.
I gave scenarios where I done it.
Okay, now when you say stuff like that, bro, I be confused because I don't know if you speaking in character, right? Or if you
I've been saying this for years. How much more loud and clear do I have to say?
That you was raping white women.
We grew up doing it. This was a thing we did, nigga.
Are you saying like it was a thing that was going on in your hood, or some shit
No,
that you
nigga, I'm telling you, I actively done,
Okay.
nigga. I'm telling you, I done done it.
You heard it? Okay.
I done bragging about it. How much more vicious can a nigga get with rape? Nigga, I done bragged about it.
What are your thoughts?
I can't with this girl. I can't.
This piece of shit need to go to sleep and not wake up. I mean, I mean that with sincerity because I believe him.
Is he being for real or is he?
No, I don't see. We got to stop that. We got to stop that. They in character shit.
Oh, okay. So
he said it.
Okay.
You know, he went to jail at 14 for doing some old nigga shit.
Right.
So it ain't beyond him to have done it. So I believe him. And because I believe him, he need to go to sleep and not wake up.
I mean, he gives me the creeps.
That's not even something you say in character.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because my thing is this, the trauma that, you know, every time a woman who's been sexually assaulted or verifiably raped has to hear that shit, the trauma that they think that this motherfucker's out here walking the streets free, knowing what he did.
Right.
Or them believing it. So even if he didn't do it, the mental and emotional trauma that he's inflicting on women for saying this shit. And for what reason? Flat out, I believe him. I have no doubt in my mind that that nigga did it. And he need not to wake up. I wasn't in the room because if I was, he wouldn't be here today.
And he's the good friend of Mr. Anton Daniels too.
That's because he's a piece of shit too.
Right.
Yeah, that's the weird thing I want to bring up is what if men are so logical, why are you following thugs, criminals, pimps, you know, child porn dudes, shoot, and we can't forget about Tate. We can't forget about Tate. Trafficking. Why? I mean, the thing is this: there's more of them than there is of any normal man.
But
in the manosphere.
DJ, here's the thing: I didn't even know who this nigga was a year ago. Follow him. You got these YouTubers that are elevating him. I don't think most people outside of West Dallas, wherever this fucking degenerate is from, would even know who he is. But again, you got that piece of shit Anton, fucking Fresh and Fit, sorry, reject fucking asses. They've elevated him by giving him a wider platform by bringing him on and putting him in front of faces and voices that he wasn't capable of doing in the first place.
Right.
He don't have no fucking talent. He wasn't capable of having his voice go further, but the degeneracy that spread further throughout our community of black men primarily, because I ain't seen him up on no black women podcast.
Right.
I ain't seen no black women podcast bring that piece of shit up. Only black men that think it's cute to give this motherfucker a voice.
Exactly. And what bothers me is this. I mean, well, I think it bothers a lot of people. He's giving out advice to women now.
Yeah.
What logic? Where's the logic in that? I couldn't believe it on Anton's show.
But here's the deal. I don't think there's a woman alive with 1 ounce of brain that's going to take no advice from this stupid motherfucker. So he's talking. Now you find me the woman that's listening to him so I can smack some sense into her ass. What advice is he giving her? How to get great?
I mean,
but the thing is, I do believe what I'm upset about is him being on Anton and Fresh and Fit is they're sort of you got young men that will hero worship him. You know, young, early in the life, gangbanging, and it's like maybe when they hear that shit, now you done put an additional thought of a crime in their mind because they think it's cute and funny or gonna get them street cred or make them like Charleston White. I can't stand this shit. And then these so-called black men are lifting these voices. These are the voices they're lifting up in our community to show the other young black men. Look at my man Charleston White. Instead of condemning him like they should be doing. They should be condemning him for the piece of shit that he is. Because you don't have to bring the motherfucker on.
Right. Exactly. I mean, that's the funny thing is he goes out of his way to bring him in. Now, if the funny thing is this, you see the type of conversations they have. They don't have conversations like, look, I'm a thug, I'm a loser, don't turn out like me conversations. They're having like, women should do this and women should do that. It's like, wait a minute. You're letting a lowlife, and I'm sorry if he did what he did, he's a lowlife.
He's a piece of shit.
You're letting a lowlife tell people that are have lived a much cleaner life than him. You're having him tell them what to do. That's I don't see the logic in that. I just don't.
That nigga couldn't talk to my dog.
I mean,
he couldn't talk to my dog. He just couldn't. He has nothing of that. He has nothing of value to society. Nothing.
No.
Nothing. Not one thing. If he has children, I would do everything in my power to see that he couldn't father those kids. Seriously.
Exactly.
He has no redeeming qualities. None. People like that, I just throw away, give up on. And when people say, oh, he can change, well, tell him, then the motherfucker shouldn't be on the internet until he's changed.
Right.
If you believe he has the power to change, then he shouldn't be out there until he's done such change. Why is he out there saying these things? And he's bragging and boasting about, and he said he hoped Chinese babies would get raped by big black men. Remember when we went on that rant because he was mad at China Mac about Chinese people?
Yeah,
Talking about babies. Then he made the threat. He hoped that the guy Matt Hoffa's 2 daughters got violated. Young girls. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with y'all? Not y'all or you, DJ. And then Anton, you got a daughter. But you got this piece of shit on your program talking like that about women and little children. And you got a 14-year-old daughter. He need the shit smacked out of him with his little fat punk ass. Because he don't make no sense. How the fuck he call his, and he'll sit there and talk about, I'm a good father. But this is the shit that you're pushing in the community. But you say the black community is trash, but you paying this motherfucker $10,000 to come up there and represent us. That's what this pisses me off.
Let me go on to this next video. Here we go.
Andrew Tate is out on bail after Romanian authorities arrested him after they had alleged that he engaged in trafficking women for sex. Now, the New York Times reported on how and why Andrew Tate and his brother ended up getting investigated by Romanian law enforcement. And I think the piece is interesting to say the least. So the Romanian authorities had arrested Tate and his younger brother Tristan in December on charges of human trafficking, rape, and forming an organized criminal group. Now, both men deny any wrongdoing. They were held in a prison for 3 months, in Bucharest to be specific, before being released under house arrest, where they are currently awaiting trial. So,
where is the logic in following a man like this? I mean, where is the logic in taking advice from men like this? It's beyond me. It's like, see, they always want to say, well, you know, to black women, they always say to black women, well, you know, this other culture doesn't do this, and this other culture doesn't do this. But here they are following, basically, usually the thing, what you do is you separate yourself, or you distance yourself from those that give you a bad reputation. Even if you're not sure whether they did it or not, you do that. We don't do that. It's crazy. To the stage, Tam 2.0, who has
Hey,
a show
DJ
coming up.
Torch.
How
Hey,
you doing,
DJ
Tam?
Torch. I'm fine. How are you? Hey, Rico.
Hey, Tam.
Tam, before you even get started, please tell me the day and time of your show and a little bit about it.
DJ Torch. No, I am not saying anything.
Isn't it something about the Razor Rays, right? Razor Rays.
Something like that. Something like that.
Okay, so
Something like that. Something like that.
well, you can't tell us anything. You can't say anything else until you tell us about your show.
Oh, it's like that. It's like that. Rico,
it's
you're just
like
gonna
that.
let DJ Torch.
Yeah, we
you're gonna
got
let
beef.
DJ Torch just hold me hostage like that.
Yeah, we got beef. Okay.
I'm waiting on the preview myself.
Oh my goodness. We're
Yeah,
talking about the topic of your show and all that.
Yeah, you'll get around to that in a minute.
Oh
Yeah,
my
we'll get around to
gosh.
that in a minute.
People in the chat, help me out. Tell DJ Torch to leave me alone.
we beefing right now, okay?
We're beefing, DJ Torch?
Yeah, we beefing right now.
I always forget that we're beefing.
Yeah, you bet tell us about your show coming up.
Yeah. We're bad beefers, DJ Torch.
Okay, yeah, I know we're not very convincing, but
yeah, we're very bad at beefing with each other.
You better, but Rico,
hey,
you better hold me
Y'all
back.
too preoccupied with the red pill.
Yeah. Hey, Monica. Hey, Henry Mars. Hey, how you doing? Okay, DJ Torch. Wonderful. Let's get back to your show.
Okay, so what are your thoughts so far?
I was watching a little bit of it. The BS that Charleston White said.
Yeah.
That is crazy. That is sociopathic. And I'm sorry. If people are trying to say, oh, it's just a character, he's just joking. You don't joke about that.
Thank you.
No.
I don't care what race of woman. You don't joke about graping any woman. I don't care if they're white, black, whatever you want. That's not funny. He is sick. And that's crazy. And that's what I have to say about that.
I understand. So that's since you're not going to talk
point where
about
I'm
your
kind
damn
of
show, I'm going to talk about your
It's
damn
not
show.
funny. It's not character. It's not, it's just satire. It's just his YouTube personality or whatever he wants to call it. No,
Right.
that's wrong. And he's sick. And I think I want to say that later on he tried to backpedal and say, oh, well, I was just saying I've dreamed of it. You don't say you're dreaming of doing a thing like that.
But he says it all the time. It's like that's just one video I found of him saying it.
I mean, I used to think he was just a troll who just likes to just say ridiculous things for shock value. But this is going too far. Saying, oh, I used to grape, or I grew up graping white women or something like that. You
Right.
don't say something like that. You don't say something like that. And Henry Mars, to answer your question, can he be prosecuted? Unfortunately, where's the victim? They'd have to identify a victim.
Yes.
Unfortunately, he's making a general stupid statement about, oh, I used to grape white women. Okay, there's over a billion white people in the society. There's no particular victim that's been identified. So unfortunately, he can't get prosecuted for this, even though he's technically, quote unquote, self-snitching. He's just being very general. Like,
right. You need a victim and other corroborating evidence. Then
you need a victim, which turns into a witness. You need corroborating evidence. It's different. Okay, if he made an admission and then he went into, it happened here, it happened there, and it happened this time, and he describes the woman and everything, then that's kind of different.
Yeah, he could say kill
I used
somebody.
to-
We still need a body. We still need a like you said, a victim.
Actually, people have actually gotten convicted on circumstantial evidence when it comes to murder.
Right,
If you
there still has to be someone reported missing. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's not even just. But it's not even just reported missing. You can actually go to prison for murder without having a body. If there's enough forensic evidence, and depending on the other factors, you can
Right.
actually go to prison for
But
murder.
but what I'm saying is then you would have to have some evidence or belief
Well,
that
yeah,
a murder
definitely.
occurred. That's what I'm
Oh,
saying. So
absolutely.
right,
Oh,
so I'm not
absolutely.
right. I'm just saying if he just walking around saying I killed somebody, I killed somebody, I killed somebody, they like, okay, he could almost theoretically say the same thing that he's saying about graping, but you still need to have some sort of additional evidence other than
Right,
this
right,
idiot
right,
just saying. It's like, well, goddamn,
right,
we don't, we just need
right.
something else. And that's what
So,
I
right.
hate. I believe he did it, but I don't think any of them white women gonna ever come forward now.
Yeah.
I just think they
Listen,
put it
I
behind
don't
them.
know if the guy did it, but just say it, whether it was serious or even a joke, is outrageous. That's not funny. That's not that's not satire. That's not fair use or whatever you want to call it on YouTube. That's outrageous. You don't say something like that
And
at
then
all.
Tam, when he was having that beef with that rapper in New York, China Mac, because this wasn't no
Okay.
dream.
That is very vague in general. Okay, everybody's beefing these days, so you got to be more specific. He was beefing with who and what?
He got there's this rapper named China Mac in New York, and
I've heard of China Mac.
okay, so Charleston White got into a beef with him, and China Mac said you can't come to New York, and then that's when Charleston White went on this racist rant about Chinese people and said he hoped Chinese babies get raped by big black dudes. He said how much he hated Chinese people. He hoped. Then the guy Math Hoffa, he said he hoped that his daughters got violated. So I like, these are not dreams. This is not a character. He's talking about people specific. He talked about one person's specific children, and then he talked about an ethnic group of children he hoped would get raped.
Yeah,
So I was like, this is
unfortunately,
not a character. Fuck
yeah,
him.
unfortunately, obvious. I mean, saying I hope someone gets raped, unfortunately, that's not illegal.
Oh
Unfortunately.
yeah. I get.
But
I'm just saying.
but
that-
like I said, it's outrageous, it's ridiculous, it's disgusting.
right.
And I believe karma watches you when you say things like that.
Mhm.
And I'll leave it at that. I mean, legally saying, "Oh, I hope someone gets raped," unfortunately, that is not illegal.
No, but
You know
set
what I mean?
the legality
It's a fucked
aside,
up thing to say, but
it speaks to his character.
yeah. I
And
mean,
that's
but
the emphasis. So I don't care if you ever did it or not. It still speaks to that you had some shitty character that you would hope that, because it probably will happen, whether it happened in your hands or not. So it's shitty to say it.
I guess the simple
at the end of
question
the
is,
day-
I guess the simple question would be, is why are all these men following these men of such low character? There's got to be much better examples to follow, of men to follow. And it seems like to me that not only do they not follow those men who leave a good example, but they're repulsed by them, like Russell Wilson or someone, or somebody respectable, at least. I mean, that's the funny thing. It's like the at least the black men, at least in the red pill system, they seem to be repulsed by men that lead a good example. What is going on with that? One moment, I got a commercial break. Tim 2.0 show. Well, is Razor Rays a passport bro? Let's ask him. This show happens. I can't read the. Oh, it happens. It's live, ladies and gentlemen, and just get this, just 24 hours. And knowing Tam, she will give you a show that's 24 hours long.
No,
May 30th.
no, it's not.
May 30th, tomorrow. It's 6 p.m. Don't be late.
No. It's 6 p.m. your time. It's 9 p.m. my time.
Oh yeah, it's 6 p.m. 6 p.m. What do we say, Tim?
Baytime.
Baytime. Okay, my commercial's done. Okay.
Well, this is the thing. I wanted it to be sometime this weekend, but I spoke with Razor Rays and he had plans, so he suggested Tuesday at 9, and I said, okay, fine. But I don't want it to be more than 3-4 hours because I got work, I got a career, I can't be up all night.
That's
so
true.
So hopefully it just wraps up in 3 to 4 hours, and then I go to bed and everything's fine and dandy. But yeah, that is the subject of my next show. And Henry Mars, I'm not gonna cook anybody. Listen, I have no issue with Razor Rays. I've always said this. I have no issue with Razor Rays. I think Razor Rays. I think he's a funny guy. So I'm not trying to cook him. I'm just trying to, because the thing with Razor Rays is he seems more of a background guy. Like he gives the shine to a lot of his panelists on his show. So I was just like, okay, who is this guy called Razor Rays? It's more like an expose. I'm not trying to cook anybody, but yeah.
He do a lot of protecting some of them too.
Yeah,
he does. When they know they fucked up wrong. Cause I was glad I saw you in the chat, and that's why I called him out. How he let Sisters Abroad do that bullshit to Rocky. I'm like, I was like, y'all know.
This is the thing. I'm gonna make one comment about that, and then I'll let it go. See, this is the thing with Brothers Abroad.
Sisters Abroad.
He's a
piece of shit.
He's
a piece of shit.
I don't think he scammed.
He lied.
Rocky. The thing. Well, this is the thing. I don't think he scammed Rocky, because he did say, "Hey, if I show proof that I overpaid my I paid for overstaying my visa, you owe me $100." That part technically wasn't a scam, but I think Rocky should have been smart enough to see that he said something different in the beginning, and then finally admitted that.
I'm gonna go back and watch that live. I heard him say he was going to show what type of visa he got, because that's what Rocky kept pressing him on, because he knew he was lying about the visa shit. And that's what I'm saying is Brothers Abroad is a chronic habitual liar. So it was by deceit. He's a piece of shit. He's been doing it since day one because he's allowed to do it, because he bloviates and he goes on and on, and Razor lets him do that. I've seen a lot of people let him do that, and that's how he befuddles you with shit. So I don't think it was fair, because he set Rocky up, and nonetheless, he should have gave the man his fucking money back. He knew he was deceitful, and he's a piece of shit for it.
Well, this is the thing, and Brothers Abroad came on my show recently, and we talked about it.
I saw that piece of shit.
The only thing I noticed was in that whole Razor Rays panel, that whole $100 things, he said something different in the beginning. At first, he said, "Oh, I renewed my visa."
Yeah, he did.
And then as the conversation kept going, he finally admitted, "Okay, I overstayed my visa, and I paid the penalty."
But
that's
look,
two different things.
No.
And I remember I confronted Brothers Abroad. I said, "Brothers Abroad, renewing your visa and overstaying a visa and then paying the penalty, those are two different things. You agree?"
But
he finally admitted, "Yes, I agree." And then he tried to say, "Oh, I was joking or playing." I was like, "No, you said two different things. You said two inconsistent things." And unfortunately, Rocky was not smart enough to catch it.
He told a third lie that you even didn't catch, because Big Super caught it. He didn't say he renewed it. He said he did a visa run, which means he left and came back in the country, which we knew he couldn't do. So, and the reason why Big Super caught it was when we saw the overpay, it was for 265 days. That was what made Big Super catch us. Like, so you never left the country. So you lied. He said, and what he said, he did a visa run, because you can do that in some countries. You have to leave and come back in. Brothers Abroad is a piece of shit. He's just like Charleston White with that fucked up character.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna say like Charleston White.
Okay, wait. Let me kick out some shout outs and then start the next video. Well, let's save that for the TAM 2.0 show tomorrow or whenever it is.
I'm just saying, listen. The thing with Super is, first of all, he's weird. He's weird, because one minute he was praising the heck out of Brothers Abroad and demonizing Rocky, and then before you know it, he was demonizing Brothers Abroad, and then he was all showing Rocky love and everything. Super is kind of weird. Like he's weird. Like even he
called him out and correctly told him he needed to get that man his money back.
No nigga.
But he said, "Get that man that money back. You lied.
You lying.
Nobody
nigga.
else.
You lying.
Nobody else on that panel had the fucking integrity.
Okay.
to tell him to get that money back."
Wait a minute. That's
That's
it.
how Big Super
That's
sounds
it.
like
Okay.
that.
Hey, I am relegating Rico to your show as well, Tam. Rico, you got to show up at a show because you know it's like this. It's like this. You know that he's gonna, when Razor Rays gets up on there, he's gonna try to avoid saying some stuff. So
Absolutely.
I'm
They
gonna be
always do
fair.
that
I'm
shit.
gonna be 100% fair. I promise you. I'll be 100%
Okay.
fair.
Yeah,
But I just want to address before you go ahead, DJ Torch. I just want to address somebody who calls himself Happy Life. Oh, Tam will be cooking me dinner after she goes off the air. Oh, Happy Life. Let me tell you something. If I cook you dinner, I dare you to eat it, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay, I'd like to kick out a shout out to Charzay in the house, Camel goes in the house, Black Women Rise in the house, Prism in the house, LaQuinto Fox in the house, almost ran out of breath. Bridget Mouton in the house. And basically it's like this. Oh, and Jay Daniels, act right. Prism's got a wrench and she can use it. I'm just saying, okay? Siobhan's got a wrench, she can use it. I'm just saying.
Listen,
he got
Jay Daniels, this is the most attention and entertainment he'll ever get in his life. Let him troll. He doesn't have,
Okay, let's get this next video on the roll. I want to
The
get
Happy
one
Life,
more.
if you want me to cook for you, I will. And again, I dare you to eat it. Eat it, I dare you.
Where did that go? I just had it.
To Andrew Tate.
Oh, here we go. Oh, this is a good one. You guys are going to love this one.
I don't know if we're on the same internet, but like those are not the conversations I'm hearing at all. The men are the majority of men, not you specifically, but the majority of men.
Can you guys hear it?
She kind of looks like Selena, the lady that's talking.
Like who?
Like Selena.
The Mexican singer?
Yeah. Doesn't she sort of favor
Hell
Selena?
no.
Kinda. A little bit.
No.
Equally as delusional as the women. Do you know how many women who have like had those interactions in passing, regardless of whatever you rate them, who turn down men gently and still get cussed out? We're not going to pretend like on these YouTube streets that men are out here intentionally rating women lower than they should be just to get their own ego boost or to make a point. We're not going to sit here and talk about these men who are saying if you make X amount of money, that woman should want you. Like, I don't know if we're on the same internet, but like those are not the conversations I'm hearing at all. The majority of men, not you specifically, but the majority of men are equally as delusional as the women.
Oh, I fully disagree because I know let's just say I made 3 times more money than what I make now, my options will become through the roof. And it's not because
Wait a minute. There are men that make 3 times as much as he that are complaining about not having options. So whatever that might be, who knows? I mean, the way that this is what point pops out to me. Look, I'm all about, being a gray hair but being in the know and knowing the new and all that kind of other stuff, right? But he looks like an old man that never wanted to grow up. That's what it looks like. He's got the hat sideways and everything, trying to be a hip hop artist, and it gives me the wrong vibe. And let me see what he's saying about why he's disagreeing and disagreeing with what she said. I thought what she said was pretty level. I don't know about you guys.
Looking, and it's not because I necessarily want it. That's just what would happen. I don't think men have the unrealistic expectation that they qualify for every woman. I haven't seen that yet. Not once. Go ahead, Mark.
So AP, to her point, I think that I gotta agree with her because the delusion that she's talking about, right? So it's not one for one. It kind of separates differently. So we control the relationship, they control sex, right? So what we catch women in a delusion and they exploit is the ability to have sex with a whole lot of women who may not qualify for us. What they might catch a man in his delusion and exploit is the ability to trick off and give you relationship attention and not have no intention on actually being with you. So they can it cross intersects that way with the delusion. Like, you know good and well that woman would not be messing with you if you couldn't pay for her. You know good and well he wouldn't be messing with you if you weren't just about to bust it over right now. That might be the delusion. That's where that crisscross X made. I gotta agree with all that.
And I would say this because I know it was you, Cap, who, you know, let's just be honest. The girl, Ebony, whatever her name is, we all know that girl is not dating. No, even if she didn't open her mouth, we knew that their girl could get, she's not going to date a bus driver. You can look at her and tell that she's not going to date a bus driver. She didn't even have to say anything. She could have just, and if you
That's just one of the most logical things I've ever heard from this channel. She's actually right.
But you know what I also don't understand is I hate the narrative like the young man get, because I don't know where this comes from. Women control sex, access to sex, and men control access to relationship. I'm like, that's so stupid to me because I don't, I'm like as if men can only have sex if women want it. Women can only have sex if men want it too. Period.
Right.
I don't know where this narrative comes from. Like, well, if she said we want to have sex, I gotta do it. I'm like, no, it doesn't work that. And the same is true for relationships because you could be madly, the dude is sitting there crying about women he want to have relationships with that's telling him no.
Right.
So where's your control, bro?
Here's the funny thing. Really, quite honestly, women control everything. In these men's worlds, women control everything, and that's why they're here in the red pill system. And I'll tell you why. They are so thirsty and so horny and have such low self-esteem, they give away their power. They give away the whatever kind of power, swagger,
Right.
whatever you want to call it. They
That they
give it.
have.
They give it away. So they don't have any power. You need to be a powerful individual to naturally be able to attract women. These women, that's why a lot of these guys are on here because they don't have control of anything. They don't have control of their own life.
Yeah, because like I was saying, in reality, what each person should be saying, male and female, is I control everything in my life. The relationship, whether I want to be in a relationship, whether I want to have sex, I control 100% of my life. Now, how it pairs up with someone else, that's to be determined. But they don't control, my wife can't make me be in a relationship with her if I don't feel like I'm going to be in a relationship with her. She can't make me have sex. Vice versa. I couldn't make her want to be in a relationship with me. I couldn't make her want to have sex. So there's no control. It's a shared control when two people agree that that's what they want to do. It doesn't have to be the same time. It's not an exact. It's like that's the art of getting to know another person.
Right. But see that the problem these men have, which is very emotional, is that these men get too emotional. Like this guy right here, he's getting too emotional about the whole thing. Basically, the bottom line is that if you give away your power to somebody else, I mean, literally forcing it on them, you're not going to get the results you're looking for. That's the best advice I can give all of these young men is that don't blame the women for your lack of self-esteem or self-empowerment and stability. Women pick up on that. Just like cats, if you've noticed, cats or other animals like tigers and lions, they can sense you from a mile away. And a lot of these men think that their lack of self-esteem is going under the radar. What they don't realize is that they're giving off signs, whether it be body language, whether it be fidgeting, or whether it be the way they speak to a woman, or their consistency, whatever it might be. They're giving they're giving a sign of I'm not solid. I'm not solid. It's the same reason why when you go to a job interview physically most of the time, they want to feel your body language to see if you are really confident at what they need you to do. That's why you go to otherwise they just do it on the phone. So yeah, I agree with you, Rika. I'm just getting deeper into more of why these men are failing.
Her up with somebody. We had to play a tic-tac, bring people together, and we just had her there. You probably wouldn't even put her with a bus driver.
Right.
Right?
Right. I mean, the thing is this. Why should and I looked up her her self-worth, Ebony's self-worth, and it's $3 million. Quite honestly, what's her name? The other woman had nerve even asking her that. She had nerve even bringing that up about a bus driver. That was a setup. She knew she was going to get that answer out of Ebony. And it was an appropriate answer. It was an appropriate answer. It was the right answer. Now she could have said no, and then it wouldn't have mattered though. It was like one of those questions that if you answer it, it wasn't going to sound good. Oh yeah, I'll date a bus driver. Oh, see, girl, you gotta look better. You gotta do better. You see what I'm saying? If she answered it the way that Van Zant said she wanted her to answer it, Van Zant would have just tried it a different way. That's what would have happened. So that's what's sad about it, is that basically Van Zant set her up. She did some manipulation. She made it. It was a very disingenuous question for Van Zant to ask her, especially after what Van Zant went through. If you don't already know, Van Zant had hands and feet put on her by a bus driver type person. Because he was a bus driver type person. It's just I can't stress more, and I will almost say this in every live. I can't stress being equally yoked is the best. You're probably going to have your best result that way. It's just having an equal background like that is going to help. We can't. Why is a black woman the only woman on earth that's supposed to bring a black man up? A man up, because most other women don't do that. But you want a $3 million bus driver. I mean, you want a $3 million lawyer to get with a bus driver. Kiss my ass.
Because I know it was you, Cap, who, let's just be honest. The girl, Ebony, whatever.
Where'd she go? Oh, hold on. If you guys can hear me, hold on one second while I fix this. And if you can hear me, hit one in the chat. Going to a backup system right now. Give me about 5 minutes. No, not 5 minutes. 30 seconds. All right. Here. Okay. Microphone check 1, 2. Can you hear me, y'all? All right. see here. Okay. Actually, right now. Okay. All right. So, I mean, basically, the thing is this. This is my feeling. Whatever Saka, whatever her name is, she made a very good point. She was on point with what she said. There's no disagreement needed. Basically, everybody in the world knows there's something called class dating. They've been doing this for a long time because it makes the most sense. It makes the most sense because it allows people of like backgrounds to interact with each other. It just works better that way. There is a higher level of DV when people are not when people are not equally yoked. Let's just put it that way. Why should a $3 million woman date a person who's a bus driver? It's okay to be a bus driver. There's plenty of women in your bus driver type of world. So why are we even making this a conversation? Anyway, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end this live. Hold on one second. Here we go. I'd like to thank everybody for coming through. Feel free to chat through the music. Here we go. Wait, what's going on here? Let me bring this down. Okay, here we go. All right, let me know if you guys can hear the music.
El mundo quiere dinero. Money work. Se arregla con dinero. Money work. Si me quiero educar, dormir en algún lugar, un lugar para trabajar, y si no hay pues emigrar. Todo money, money, todo el dinero. Solo un par de gente se lleva el putín entero. Funny, funny, pasa verdadero. Si tienes lo verde siempre llegará primero. Pero llegaremos antes o después. Solo a lo suyo, que Dios te lo ve. Que por más que tarde lo veré caer. Y somos más lo bueno y tenemos fe. El dinero ya lo veré. Yo vendo mi alma, lo lograré. Seré el más grande, no olvidaré de dónde vengo ni cómo voy. Money work. El mundo quiere dinero. Money work. Se arregla con dinero. Money work.